Hello, I'm Michael Hadfield. I'm the author of How to Lose Weight Easily, and I'm here to tell you why losing weight can be such a struggle. Try harder. Do you remember that? It's a message that is programmed into very many of us, and it generally comes from the time we were at school, when we weren't getting the results that we were supposed to get, and the admonishment was always try harder, try harder. You're not trying hard enough. If you tried harder, you'd get better results. And that message seems to follow us throughout life. Try harder, try harder. You're not working hard enough. And so we get into this mindset where we assume that if we're failing at something, it's because we're not trying hard enough. We're not doing it well enough. We need more practice. And this is how the diet industry keeps you hooked. It convinces you that when you fail on a diet, it's because you're not trying hard enough. It's a lie. Diets are designed for you to fail at them. Just because diets don't work, it doesn't mean that you can eat as you always have done and magically lose weight. I'm not talking about magic here. I'm talking about a different approach, a completely different approach to losing weight. One that eliminates feeling hungry, eliminates cravings, and generally eliminates that battle with food that is the normal experience of dieting, where you have food on your mind all day long. You're planning meals, you're counting calories or sins or whatever it is from the system that you're using, and that just goes on and on and on in your mind all day long, and food almost becomes your enemy. There is a way where you can lose weight that dispenses with all of that. The first step is to recognise that you have a problem, the problem of your excess weight that you'd like to be free of. Taking responsibility is simply taking ownership of looking for a solution that works. It's not about blame, it's not about anything negative at all. It's just acknowledging that you have a problem and you're looking for a solution. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you have to know the answers. It just means you're accepting that the problem is yours and you will deal with it, and you will be responsible for the success or failure of that process. This weight thing is a huge social problem, but society ain't going to fix it for you. Society isn't interested in you being overweight. So there is something about going against the flow here if you choose to take a diet-free solution to losing weight. And going against the flow is always difficult. There's a lot of pressure from society to do what they do, to do what everybody else does. Everybody else tries to lose weight with a diet. So you have to be quite brave and quite resourceful in order to just make the decision to do it differently and expect results. Because the whole world is telling you that can't possibly work. Just because a lot of people believe in something doesn't make it right. A lot of people believe in Father Christmas. I mean, admittedly, most of them are under 5, but they still believe in something that just isn't true. And the rest of society conspires to make them believe in that. Anything of any significance that's been discovered in the history of mankind has always been one individual going against the flow. People like Darwin, Faraday, Newton, Einstein, famous scientists, all did it differently. They didn't follow the crowd. And we remember them. We don't remember the crowd. They made a difference. And so sometimes we have to ignore what everyone is telling us and say, actually, that doesn't make any sense. The evidence isn't there to support that. But as far as the diet thing goes, science already knows it doesn't work. There is plenty of research out there. If you go on the internet, you can find it. But there's a problem. And a reason why what science knows isn't being disseminated, isn't being shared with the people who need the information. And that's because, in part, losing weight is not easy. There is no easy solution. You probably didn't add 10 or 20 pounds to your weight overnight. So how can you rationally expect to lose it overnight? Bodies don't work like that. The reason you haven't been told the truth about losing weight is business and commerce, in other words, money. But before we get onto that, you need to understand that the overweight problem and the problem with failing to lose that weight is not your fault. You have been programmed to fail. The job of the diet industry is to take your money from you. They convince you to spend your money with them and to follow their methods and ideas and diets by reminding you of your failures, by convincing you it's your lack of willpower that causes you to fail, or that there's something wrong with you. But if you use their system, everything will be fine and you will lose the weight and become slim and beautiful once more. Forget that. It's not true. Weight Watchers' annual revenue just a few years ago was $1.5 billion. The company has assets of over $1 billion. The US weight loss industry for that same year was worth $60 billion. The global forecast for the weight loss industry for this year is $500 billion. This is big business. And for big business, it's cheaper to keep a customer than to attract a new one. So what they do is the systems are designed for short-term success and long-term failure. That way, they can convince you it was your fault that it failed because you gave up, you had too many cravings, you were hungry all the time, and that's all down to you, not their plan, because in the short term you lost weight. The fact that you can't keep it off for the rest of your life, or for as long as you want to, that's down to you, not them. And that's how they keep you coming back again and again and again. They convince you it's your fault. They give you short-term success, but long-term failure. Give your customers short-term success, long-term failure, and blame them for the failure. That short-term success early on is what keeps customers coming back. And on almost any diet, it's possible to lose £7, £14 in a few weeks. The problem is, it's mostly water. And as soon as you stop the diet, all that comes back on. And this reinforces the idea that the diet was great and the weight is down to you because you're not doing it right. It's not true. It just isn't true. As soon as you cut down your food intake, especially if you cut down on processed foods, you reduce your salt intake quite dramatically. Salt keeps water in the body. When you reduce your salt intake, you excrete lots of excess water that was being held in there by the salt that is now not being replenished on a daily basis. Carbohydrates in your body, for every gram of carbohydrate that you hold in your body, there are 2.5 grams of water fastened onto that. When you shed that carbohydrate, you're losing 2.5 times as much water. When you stop dieting and you return to normal eating, all that water is just sucked back into your body and your weight goes up. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's just chemistry. Of course, the diet industry knows all this. And that's why they know that they're guaranteed an early success of the loss of maybe half a stone or a stone within the first few weeks. And it's mostly water. It's mostly water simply because of the change in your eating habits, and that water that's normally held in your body is just excreted. So you lose a lot of... Now, the thing is, as soon as you stop and return to normal eating, your body just soaks all that water back up just like a sponge, and the weight piles back on. And this is what they use to keep you hooked on the diets. It's because of that early success that you think the diet must be working. And as it got harder and harder for you and you reached that plateau where it's a real struggle to lose even a pound in a week, that's what makes you think it must be something you're doing wrong. So you have to eat even less in order to lose the weight as rapidly as that weight dropped off in the first few weeks. And you give up eventually because it's just too hard. It's too big a struggle. And you're thinking about food all the time, as I mentioned earlier. But come next year, come holiday season, you're thinking about going to the beach and wearing light clothes and wanting to look good. You go back because you remember that early success. If you only had to diet once, nobody could make millions of dollars out of you and people like you. Diets are designed to fail, but to keep you coming back for more. Diets are designed to make you fat. It's as simple as that. Let me give you a couple of facts. 1 in 5 dieters give up within 2 months. Half of all dieters give up in less than 12 months. This diet thing is a game that's designed to pull you back to play again and again and again. But it's a game that's rigged. It's a game you can't win. If you like this and would like to find out more about how to beat the system, then check out my book available on Kindle and in paperback on Amazon, How to Lose Weight Easily. Thank you for watching.